Thank you. Sit down. Madam President, esteemed trustees, if you're here, highly regarded faculty, administrators, and staff, family, I have some here, and students, especially the class of 2015. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. I really can't tell you how excited I was when I was asked actually to speak today, because Class and Charter Day was always a favorite of mine. It was a favorite of mine ever since I was a student, because it was full of surprises, and I love surprises. I remember when I attended as a freshman, I really had no clue as to what was going on. I didn't really know it was in the chapel, and there weren't just seniors and juniors that were attending, and there were actually a lot of freshmen that attended, and I really didn't understand what was going on. But I have to say, I really did enjoy tremendously watching faculty members that I had never met get awards, and it made me kind of want to take classes with them. Anyway, I had a lot of my own surprises when I was here at Hamilton. I entered as pre-med. Yes, I did. Don't roll your eyes at me. When I was a kid, I was surrounded by people in the medical profession, so that kind of seemed like a natural to me. It was really the only thing that I knew. It sounded really great, and because I'm like that, I chose neurosurgery. Yeah, sounded great, until I was put on academic probation my freshman year, first semester. The dean of students at the time told me that I will never graduate with better than a C- average. I think it was a B, and I think I actually made dean's list a couple of times. But believe me, I was not heartbroken over dropping out of the pre-med program. I really wasn't. I love the arts. And the moment I shifted my focus and attention to the things that I loved, my life changed. I loved playing the clarinet, but I was awful. In fact, my roommates actually made me give my instrument to charity. I'm not lying. I loved playing the piano, and I played it often. I directed the Buffers for 3.5 years, loved that. And for 4 years, I directed the musical theater Fantasia that we called the AD play, where they were lining up down Campus Road, actually, to get into AD, you remember. I sang in every singing group on the Hill with Rob Kolb, and Sam Pellman, actually, were here when I was here. And I really loved singing. I sang with every group, including Special K. Yeah, I even sang with Special K. It was fun. It's not a challenge. Anyway, my point is, I was in heaven. I was really in heaven. I was passionate about all of that. I still am. I consumed music. I consumed theater, which I actually minored in. And I embraced every opportunity to speak in front of my peers. I was a showgirl, but I wanted to be a headliner. And I loved film. My mom used to let me stay up late at night, to watch movies with her because she knew that they resonated with me. And the biggest night of all for me was Oscar night. I wanted an Oscar. All my life, I wanted an Oscar. So I needed to find out how to get one of those things. Well, Scott McDonald's class in cinema history actually changed everything for me. I felt like I was learning the backbone of the business that I wanted to spend the rest of my life in. It was one of those classes I couldn't wait to come around again, every week. And now when I look at that spectacular Kennedy Center, I realize that I probably would have skipped over the pre-med part. I loved it here, and I learned a lot that was meaningful to me, and I couldn't have been happier. So after graduation, I headed to New York, as Joan said, to pursue my job, my dream job in film. The problem was I didn't really know what there was to do in film, except produce, because I had heard all those people that were referred to as producers go up on the stage and get their Oscar, which is what I wanted, so clearly I needed to learn how to produce. I spent a lot of time on informational interviews at all the studios and networks based in this city, but I didn't land my dream job as quickly as I had hoped. So I took a job to pay the bills, selling musical toothbrushes on the 5th floor of Bloomingdale's. Surprise! I loved it. I made good money. I made $2 a brush. Back in the 1980s, that was good money. It paid the rent. And in some twisted way, I think it actually helped me hone in on my interviewing skills. Anyway, I did eventually get hired by a studio, and I tried a lot of different things. Sales, advertising, marketing, distribution, publicity. I hated all of it. I could tell you horror stories about why I was not a good fit with any of those departments. And during those years, I came out, which was a surprise to no one ever. My partner Scott is here with me today, which I'm thrilled about. I still giggle over a conversation that we had years ago, which I have to share with you. When I took over as the head of the Alumni Council and the Alumni Association, I said, Scott, you know, if there's an opportunity at some point while I'm in that role and I get to wear a hood, I'm going to have one designed specifically for me, lined in Poochie. And he said, you can't do that. That's sacrilege. Your hood is supposed to be demonstrative of your area of concentration in your advanced degree. What was your advanced degree in? Fabulousness? Don't encourage him. He went to Williams. Bless his heart. Seriously, I did want to remember also to say thank you. The most recent Hamilton Out and Ally campaign has almost 1,100 signatures on it. I'm thrilled. That thrills me. That really thrills me. And I think, in similar campaigns, just so you know, I think we're second to only Princeton. That's pretty awesome, so thank you for that. Anyway, back to me. So I tried all of those other areas of the film business. I didn't fancy them. And then I found acquisitions. This was when I was at Orion. I loved acquisitions. You watched movies that other people made, and then you decided whether or not you should actually buy them for distribution. And back then, in the mid-'80s, when you decided to buy a movie, the purchase price was actually a percentage of the final cost of the film. So, for instance, if it was a $10 million movie, and you wanted to buy the North American distribution rights, and at the time they were going for about 70% of the total cost, then you had to pony up $7 million to buy the North American distribution rights for the film. Well, some disruptive things started to happen in the marketplace in the 80s, and those disruptive things were named Bob and Harvey Weinstein. And they started making these preemptive strikes, and they started buying these movies before they were finished to take them off the market so that nobody else like me could buy them. So, that's a great plan, except what happens if the movie that you started out to make at $10 million now costs $20 million? And you still have to pay 70% of that in order to actually secure the North American rights. So now $7 million turns into $14 million. And when you work in acquisitions, you have a budget, right? So you kind of budget how much you're going to spend every year, and you can't spend over that. So it just means, at that time that we were ending up buying less movies. So that's really when life changed for me a little bit. I needed to learn budgeting. I needed to learn scheduling and cost reporting and financial controls. I needed to recognize when what red flag had to be raised during the course of production. And it really started off my career in the production world, in the production finance world. So, why am I telling you all this, right? It was very flattering to see that front page of The Spectator announcing that I would be giving the remarks today. I was really quite flattered, and I love it, I'm not gonna lie, when people mention all the Academy Award-winning movies that I have my fingerprints on. But I made some bad movies too. Prophecy 2, 3, 4, anybody see them? Hellraiser 3, 4, 5. Not lying. Children of the Corn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They cannot all be good. But the fact is, when you start out making a film, you have to believe it's going to be good. You want it to be good. When you start making anything, you have to believe it's going to be good. When you start designing your senior art project, or outlining your senior thesis, or composing your senior Composition, Sammy. You gotta believe it's gonna be good. Otherwise, why waste your time, right? Why waste your time? We all fail and we all succeed at stuff. Neurosurgery, toothbrushes, marketing, acquisitions, Halloween 8, Shakespeare in Love. Look, today they're curing some forms of brain cancer with a mutated polio virus and pediatric leukemia with a non-toxic HIV. These people have been working on this stuff for longer than you and I have even been around, and they tried and failed and tried and failed, and they didn't give up. That's my message. Hang in there. Surprise yourself. You're gonna get surprised. When I used to raise equity for a film, my investors didn't care about the story I wanted to tell. My investors only cared about two things. How am I gonna get my money back? And when that doesn't work, how am I gonna get my money back? So the lesson here is they've got to believe in you, not your product. Are you the guy or the gal that's gonna get it done, whatever that is? So what's next for me? I got my fingerprints on Oliver Stone's new film about Edward Snowden, Spike Lee's film about Chicago gangs, and Tom Cruise's film about drug running in the South in the 80s. Check in with me in a year and a half and I'll let you know if they're any good, but I believe they have the potential to be very good. Thank you very much.